Super Mario Galaxy!
Hello everyone and welcome to Rewind Reviews. In this video we are taking a look at the long-awaited sequel to 2023's Super Mario Bros. Movie, and that is the Super Mario Galaxy movie, released in 2026. The second animated adaptation of the Nintendo video game series sees Mario and his brother Luigi venturing into space, exploring cosmic worlds and tackling galactic challenges far from the familiar Mushroom Kingdom. Written by Matthew Fogel and directed by Aaron Horvath, Michael Jelenic, Pierre Ledoux and Fabian Pollock, the movie features the voice talents of Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, Jack Black, Keegan-Michael Key, Benny Safdie, Brie Larson, Donald Glover and Glenn Powell. You know what, even as a bigger Sonic the Hedgehog fan, I was still quite looking forward to this one. I definitely had my issues with the first movie back in 2023, but I still had a fun time with it and I did enjoy it overall. And that's coming from someone who hasn't really played many Mario games over the years apart from like the original Donkey Kong, Mario Kart on the Wii, or the 3 Olympic crossover games with Sonic, and I did watch a little bit of the Donkey Kong TV series as a kid, if any of you remember that. But, and I may as well say this now, I have never played Mario Galaxy, the game that this film is partially based on, so I have no idea how accurate it is, have no nostalgic feelings towards it, and most likely missed a lot of Easter eggs as well. You've been warned. So when Illumination announced that they were going to be doing a Super Mario Galaxy movie, I was a little indifferent. I didn't really have any strong opinions one way or another, but I did kind of agree with the general consensus at the time, which was, why aren't they doing a Super Mario World movie next? And I'll come back to that later, but I was still quite curious about what direction they were going to be taking this franchise in and how they were going to build on what was established in the first film, now that all the legwork had been done. And when the first trailer dropped, it looked like more of the same, albeit much bigger and having the characters actually journeying outside of the Mushroom Kingdom. And it looked like a fun time. But when I started seeing some reviews for this movie, that's when I started getting a little bit worried. But I still had hope that this would be entertaining and I went to go and see it on opening day. And yeah, this was pretty much what I expected. While definitely not a game changer for video game adaptations. Like the first movie, this is a very fun, lively and action-packed adventure for the Brooklyn-based plumbing duo. And without spoiling too much, it expands on the world that was established in the first film and adds several new key additions to the franchise, including characters, locations and power-ups. Just before we continue, I do want to very quickly mention that I won't be going into anything too spoilery, but if it was officially revealed before the movie came out, it's fair game. So yes, I will be addressing those appearances, but I won't be addressing any twists or revelations or anything like that, or how the movie ends or post-credit scenes or anything like that. So here's your warning if you don't want to know anything. Anyway, this time around, after their defeat of Bowser, Mario and Luigi have been adapting to their new lives in the Mushroom Kingdom, fixing the pipes, dealing with Koopas and even making a new friend called Yoshi. But when, across the galaxy, the magical Princess Rosalina is kidnapped by the son of Bowser, Bowser Jr., Princess Peach, the ruler of the Mushroom Kingdom, and Toad set out across the stars to help save her. Meanwhile, Bowser Jr. sets his sights on attempting to free his father from his imprisonment, with destructive results, leaving Mario, Luigi and Yoshi stuck with their former enemy as they try to save Peach and make their way home. There's quite a bit more going on than that, but that's the main plot, or should there be plots? And in many ways, this is a classic Mario game story. It's what the average Mario game does. Princess gets captured and heroes go to save her. But as I said, there is a load more that happens in this with multiple subplots and side quests, and the characters all splitting off into groups on their own adventures. And while these stories are heading towards the same goal, and they do overlap and merge together by the end, a lot of these side quests and side missions kind of feel a little bit unnecessary, as in they don't really add anything to the main story, or they're set up to be something really important and then dropped a few minutes later. Case in point, Peach and Toad have their luggage stolen and they end up in this casino run by a Jabba the Hutt type villain called King Wart. And it's a really fun sequence, don't get me wrong, but was there a need for it? I mean, you could literally cut out this entire sequence and nothing would change plot-wise. The worst offender for me is the rivalry between Mario and Bowser, which felt set up to be this big overarching plot point. And it's discarded so casually and fast that it genuinely doesn't feel like it was even needed, which sucks because that could have been such a brilliant plot point, and they could have had so much fun diving into their uneasy alliance. Hero and villain team-ups are always interesting to me, so that was a bit disappointing. I was also a little disappointed that some of the characters from the first movie are either nowhere to be seen in this, or just have fleeting appearances. But at the same time, this definitely would have felt even more crowded, and they do struggle to make sure that every character that does appear in this has a role to play, or has a reason to appear in this. And these are elements that do make me understand why it is the critics are saying that this movie feels messy. I don't know if I could really say that myself, but it is a very fast-paced movie and there is a lot happening in it. Maybe if they slowed down a bit, extended the runtime, expanded on some elements and trimmed down on others, I think this would have flowed a lot better. This movie, as is not even 100 minutes long, and I don't think that anyone would have a problem with a longer movie as long as that time was put to good use. Like having the Mario-Bowser rivalry taking more priority, along with the introduction of Bowser Jr., which is one of the better aspects of the film, and have that magical paintbrush be the MacGuffin that everyone wants. Save all the Galaxy stuff for the next film, and that way you can dedicate more time to both that and Rosalina, which is the one thing that I know that fans aren't happy with. Have it feel more like a natural escalation of stakes and have it build on what happened in the first movie, like the Sonic franchise did. Have it slowly build up with room to go further in the future. That could be the Super Mario Galaxy movie, whereas this should have been the Super Mario World movie. Yoshi was first introduced in Super Mario World, so I do think that they must have thought of it. It won't fix everything, but I do think that it would help. This, as is, just feels like it's in a rush to do everything and reference everything that it can, and it really shouldn't be. A third movie is pretty much guaranteed at this point. In fact, the post-credit scene makes that very clear, so there's no worry that they won't be able to continue the story. There's 2 post-credit scenes, by the way, and I think fans will like what they set up. But my main concern is that movie 3 is going to have the same problems as this one, and based on how well these movies do at the box office, there's little incentive to improve. And this also goes for its approach to introducing new characters. There is quite a few new additions in this installment, from well-known Mario icons to lesser-known ones that fans will recognise. And I will say that some of them are integrated into the story fairly well. Bowser Jr., voiced by Benny Safdie, is definitely one of the better ones, and he does get some great scenes, including a few with his father. I do, and always have questioned how it is that Bowser has a son, and this doesn't even attempt to address it. I have got a slightly disturbing theory that would feel quite at home on DeviantArt, but I'm just going to move on. The first movie has a scene with Bowser and Kamek, and that's all I'm going to say. That's in my brain now. Anyway, Bowser Jr. as a character is fun and he is good. And that also, surprisingly, goes for Fox McCloud, voiced by Glenn Powell. I am admittedly slightly baffled that Universal just casually revealed that he was in this with that poster. I mean, at first, I legitimately thought it was fan-made until I saw who posted it. And especially since I was under the impression that he was going to be just a cameo. But no, he actually does have a pretty meaty role. And in fact, he's actually one of the best parts in the film. Unlike the Pikmin, who were on screen for less than 5 seconds. Seriously, why did they reveal that they were in this as well? After the film comes out, fine, but come on. It would be like Paramount announcing a week before Sonic 4 comes out that Knights is going to show up for a flyby. Just don't do that. It's a big enough IP, people are going to see it anyway. You don't need to show everything. Anyway, I'm sweating now. As fun as Fox McCloud is, I am a little disappointed about a lack of Rosalina. She's voiced really well by Brie Larson and gets an amazing introduction, but by all accounts, Rosalina is meant to be a big part of the Galaxy story, and somebody like Fox McCloud, a non-Mario character, has more screen time than her. Her screen time to me at least does make sense within context of the film, but I do understand why some fans are disappointed. I'm going to be honest, I'm not really too familiar with her character, but she was built up in the trailers as someone important, so I was kind of expecting a lot more from her. The biggest disappointment to me is more aimed towards Yoshi, who, to my genuine surprise, is voiced by Donald Glover, and he's actually a really good choice. I saw his listing on Google and I genuinely said there's no way that's real, but it was, and he is, and he's actually quite good. I definitely can't do the voice. Yoshi! I did say I couldn't. Just need to be a few octaves higher. Anyway, I love Yoshi. He's definitely one of the ones that I like playing as in the Mario games that I have played, and I was excited to see him in this. And while he does have some great scenes, and he is integrated into the group quite well, with great chemistry and a dynamic forming, they don't really do a lot with him. In fact, his biggest scene felt added in just to give him a purpose for being in this. It feels like they had to include him because they teased him in the last one, but they didn't know what to do, which does make me worried about the next one and who's going to be in it. So while it is disappointing, he does get some very funny moments, arguably the funniest in the movie, including one sequence quite early on when they introduce him. I thought that was brilliant. The comedy within this movie is a bit mixed. Just like the first movie, not every joke lands, but some of them are really funny. And it was nice hearing all the audience laughing as well. Like Charlie Day as Luigi has one of the funniest lines of the film. It's the perfect punchline. Anyway, I can't deny that the new voice talents are all really good in their roles, and that also extends to the returning cast as well. Especially Jack Black, who returns as Bowser and has the time of his life. As I said earlier, what they do with Bowser is a bit too fast, and I would have loved to have seen more time with him having to work with Mario. But I did like the conflict that comes up, and once again, he is one of the funniest parts of the film. But he doesn't get a song this time, boo! Rosalina, Rosalina. Rosalina, 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 or something to that extent. Why did I just do that? Then again, Bowser's still in love with Peach, which makes no sense because Rosalina is right there. Moving on, and as for the voice talent for the other 4 main leads, Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach and Toad, they're all really good again. They all make the characters feel like their own, and they're all really fitting for this interpretation of the characters. I really enjoy Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, but he takes a bit more of a backseat in this one, despite being present for some really entertaining sequences. Anya Taylor-Joy was really good once again as Princess Peach, and helps make her feel like a properly fleshed out character. My only issue is that despite her role being a pretty central emotional focal point, I would have liked to have seen a bit more from her, especially when she meets Rosalina. I don't know how, but they definitely should have had a lot more screen time together, and they definitely needed to address one very big plot hole. which they won't. As it is, Peach is really fun once again, and she does have some great scenes. And of course, we also have Chris Pratt and Charlie Day back as Mario and Luigi, and they are both great once again, both individually and together. That was one of my biggest complaints about the first movie. They had amazing chemistry, but they barely spent any time together. In this one, they're barely apart, and I really enjoyed that. And I really like how Yoshi fits into their dynamic as well. The vocal performances from both Chris Pratt and Charlie Day are excellent once again. I think a lot of fans have really warmed to their Mario and Luigi voices. As characters, they haven't really changed too much from their first appearance, like Luigi still being a bit of a coward, but they are good, and I do like this version of these characters. I don't want to repeat too much of what I said in my last Mario video, but I am still a little bit conflicted on the whole celebrity versus voice actor debate for these kinds of films. I do 100% believe that voice actors need to be more prioritised when it comes to these kinds of roles. But in this case, in this movie, I think the voice talent does do a good enough job, and quite a few of them have done quite a bit of voiceover work over the years. So I am still a little bit split on it overall, but I do think that the ones in this movie do a good job. What do you reckon? If they ever get introduced, Danny DeVito and John Leguizamo as Wario and Waluigi. That could work. Anyway, the characters themselves I do like. They are quite likeable overall, even if they don't have a lot to do. But I love how they look. Their designs are pretty accurate to their game counterparts, with just a few tweaks here and there, and they really look great. They don't look any different from how they were in the first movie, and I do appreciate that, given that many sequels do have a tendency to try and change how characters look to try and sell more toys. The locations as well. Once again, the Mushroom Kingdom looks fantastic and highly detailed, and translated from the games pretty flawlessly, including all the new locations that get introduced in this film. And this is one aspect that I can never fault of Illumination. Their movies look incredible. The animation is absolutely gorgeous once again. It's bright, it's colourful and vibrant, with amazingly detailed textures and environments that still maintain their cartoonish roots, but still manage to have some layer of realism, and fit nicely within the world that they've already established. In fact, there's one scene, and I'm not going to spoil why, that involves hand puppets, and I cannot believe I questioned this, but I did genuinely wonder if they were real. They honestly looked that good and that convincing that I was sure they were filmed with green screen. They weren't, but wow. There's a lot of things that do appear in this that do look incredibly realistic. And I genuinely think, in terms of animation, this might be Illumination's best movie to date. In terms of the overall look, in my opinion, it's better than the first movie. And I can't lie, when Fox McCloud gets introduced, they switch animation style when they tell his backstory into something really unique and creative. And this really made me want a Star Fox movie in that style. It's really creative and fun and very memorable as well. Make it happen, Illumination. This really is an incredible looking film. That also extends to the cinematography as well, which is amazing and makes full use of every frame. It's really cinematic and energetic, and it does have some really creative moments, like the sequence in the casino and how they play around with gravity. The sound design is equally amazing as well. Sound design is an important component when it comes to animated movies, and I thought it was brilliant here. It helps sell everything you see on screen and adds an extra level of weight and realism to every action. It also, like the first one, utilises multiple sound effects directly from the games, like the power-ups. It feels like it is embracing its game roots, and that is something that I am liking about a lot more recent video game adaptations, like the Sonic franchise, like Street Fighter, like Mortal Kombat, like Backrooms. Okay, I know 3 of those aren't out yet, but you get what I mean. Visually, stylistically, music and sound, it all helps evoke the feel of the games, and I think fans will appreciate that level of detail. But this aspect is one of the things that has divided fans and critics, and that's the use of references and Easter eggs. This is very heavy on references to the video games and sprinkling in Easter eggs and winks to all kinds of things that fans will pick up on, and I'm sure we'll get a buzz from. And I can't lie, there was something in this that did make me smile, even with my limited knowledge. But I do feel like this stuff can get pushed just a little bit too far, and it can get in the way of the story. Now, I'm not saying that the first movie didn't do it as well, but how the references were used in that movie I felt were a lot more organic and woven into the story a bit more believably, like the side-scrolling sequences and the Mario Karts. And I won't deny, some of them are worked into the movie quite well, but it does get a bit too much, and I think that some things definitely needed to be cut. Like, and I don't want to spoil this, there's something they do during the finale that involves Mario and Peach trying to get somewhere, and Bowser Jr. is trying to stop them. What they do in that sequence, to me, felt a little bit tacked on and a bit distracting, and it didn't work as a complete sequence. There's a lot of sequences that do happen in this movie that do feel like they are purely in this to reference either a level or a character. I don't know, some things worked and others didn't. As you can tell, I'm a little mixed on it. But that said, the music from Brian Tyler is fantastic once again. It carries over a load of themes from the first movie while adding a load of new ones as well. And on top of that, it mixes together a lot of themes that you might recognise from the games. And it honestly sounds amazing and cinematic. And I love the orchestral remixes of the themes that I do recognise. Song choices, I'm a little bit split on, but I do think that it is an improvement over the first film. The music is one of the very few aspects of the Mario movies that I will say do have a one-up on the Sonic films. I really wish the soundtracks of the Sonic movies were more like this, but they are getting there. It's an excellent soundtrack and I do think that it is worth listening to. Overall, I think this is a fun and entertaining sequel, but it is pretty much more of the same. It's fun, lively and action-packed with some funny moments, some gorgeous animation and an amazing soundtrack. But I do feel like this can be a bit cluttered with one too many things happening or too many characters to focus on, which isn't helped by several distractions that come in the form of references and side quests that have little to none impact on the overall story. That said, I think fans of the games in the previous movie will most likely enjoy it. I think casual viewers will have some fun, especially families. And while I can't say that this is a great film or anything special, I was entertained by it and I had a nice time. It's not a must-see movie by any means, but I do think that it could make for a nice family night in. So with all that being said, my rating for the Super Mario Galaxy movie is a 6 out of 10. Definitely could and should have been better, but it is entertaining as is. Right, that is pretty much everything I want to say for this video, so if you have watched this video, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and let me know down below what you think of the film, what your thoughts and theories are for movie 3, and if you have any suggestions for future Rewind reviews, let me know down below. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. See you guys.